It is I am, the one and only Captain Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and we are back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Steam, and even iOS phone devices. So last time, we basically managed to finishing up with the forms of Kelp Forest, and also we did done the first half of the Flying Dutchman's Graveyard. And today, hopefully for this video, is the fact that we're able to completely done with everything in terms of the Flying Dutchman's Graveyard by finish up the rest of the mission. So either way though, with that being said though, let's get to it.
Ahoy there, SpongeBob! Swab the poop deck! Arr, 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 arr.
Oh, I already did that joke with Squidward, Mr. Krabs.
Yes, well, it's a good one though, eh?
Oh, sure is.
Here's what you need to do. Destroy all the power generators on the robot ship. Once the power is off, you'll be able to shoot the Dutchman's cannons to destroy the robot ship.
Cannon do, Mr. Krabs.
Okay, so I do apologize for that particular very awkward pirate expression, but that's only mainly because, well, relatively speaking, it's just the fact that, well, I just feel like trying to do that. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and take down those power generators while we're able to actually activate those cannon switches before we're able to move on to the last segment in terms of the forms of the Flying Dutchman's Graveyard, so hopefully we can able to expect that we will get his ship back. So, at least as far as I can recall. I hate the knockback on this. Like, I still really do. But either way though, but thankfully we actually got onto the respawning points, well, despite the fact that we still have to wait for those very annoying loading screens most of the time. So either way though, things just happens in most cases anyway. So, anyway, so, yeah, a few things we want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that, today's date is, of course, the 11th of July today, in this case in 2022 today. As I mentioned this before, ever since the last video on this, and that is the fact that every once in a while we're able to actually hopefully try to finish up with this game from the likes of, specifically this coming week, for specifically, like, this week in particular, because, well, as far as you guys should already know, that recently Maxi has, you know, basically finishing up everything in terms of Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 3D All-Stars right now. So once again, he'll take a break from Super Mario 3D All-Stars from now on until specifically this coming September. To be more specifically, let's just say roughly on the 2nd of September, basically, because obviously he will be back onto Super Mario 3D All-Stars for the likes of Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays routine, from the likes of the forms of, as I said before, until September. So anyway, few things we want to explain for the sake of the forms of specific conversations we're like able to discuss. I apologize with the forms about the fact that there's going to be a little bit of a delay for this uploading schedule. This is mainly because this is probably my second attempt for this recording session, not just because the forms of the captured gameplay footage, but also my commentary as well. Because whenever I managed able to did this before, but ultimately speaking though, it just came out to be very, very, very awkward, especially noticeable because, honestly guys, that's as far as I can usually try to describe about the forms of how the fact that, well, relatively speaking, if I was trying to explain something, but then next you notice is the fact that, well, yeah, it's hard to explain. And I just realized something is the fact that unlike the original version of the game, that basically if you try to hop onto these little specific ropes right there, that way you can able to actually skip the whole entire portion of this particular segment, whilst in the forms of the remake remaster every now and then, you can no longer do it. So because of this though, I honestly have no idea why they removed that. But anyway, because that's another trophy, but this time around though it's actually based off from you have to destroy 100 enemies with Sandy. So because of this though, I think we're basically done with the forms of, well, destroy all the enemies mortality when it comes to likely for trophies / achievements and you name the rest. So, but I digress. So, another thing I want to explain about this is the fact that, well, obviously we've almost nearly at the end for the sake of the forms of the current tour for the likes of Mario Kart Tour, which appears to be by the forms of Bangkok. And for what I've noticed is the fact that that particular tour is actually, I'm not gonna lie, a pretty cool tour to explore. Mind you, about the fact of the matter is though, is the fact that we're actually doing pretty well for the sake of the forms of the tour so far. Because obviously, I don't suppose if you noticed, but when the actual tour was actually first revealed, or specifically on live, basically though is the fact that I felt very, very lucky when it comes to able to getting another cosmetic character. Well, I think relatively speaking, I think this might actually be the only cosmetic Daisy character we actually got right now, which yeah, that might be the only one, because there are quite a multiple you know, cosmetic characters, separate characters for Daisy in the past, but ultimately though, I can never seem to able to get her for the sake of the forms of some of these cosmetic characters, because you know what I mean with microtransactions as well as the random luck factor to it comes into play. So as a result though, it can be rather tedious. So, and another thing worth noting for is the fact that I really do enjoy the aesthetics of Bangkok Rush track. Because, kind of thinking about it, it does kind of reminds me of like an Adabat kind of vibe from the likes of Sonic Unleashed, except the fact that it takes place in the sunset as opposed to day and night. So, well, at least as far as I can usually record that, but either way though, it knows what it is. Although, much like the forms of how it does it on the previous tours, there were a few times I keep on getting myself screwed over by stupid RNGs every once in a while. And on top of all that stuff though, with bad controls, and even the item system is pretty bad in my opinion. And apart from those side of things though, I'm really hoping that when iOS 16 is about to be revealed, to be more specifically to the public for the sake of the forms of this particular coming month, which is specifically September as well, relatively speaking, hopefully we're able to actually use the Switch controller, so that way we can able to make the game a lot more comfortable to play. Well, at least we're hoping so anyway, but relatively speaking, so far, that we actually got ourselves our new update for the sake of Mario Kart Tour as well. But it only is going to happen until specifically this coming Wednesday. So even then though, because relatively speaking, that all it does is just the fact that they're trying to able to actually add it in something new. And also fixing a lot of issues and stuff like that, that it was being previously addressed from the likes of the forms of the previous updates in mind. But I digress. So what they added here is the fact that they'll make the actual made preparations for a new bonus challenge, and also there's going to be a big reverse race versus 100 that will be released at some point in this coming Wednesday. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool as far as this is concerned. And also players can now use a quick ticket to update the daily selects lineup once a day. So yeah, that's actually pretty swell. And there's also complete challenge cards can now be hidden. So yeah, I guessing that means is the fact that every time you looked up on the forms of the actual challenges list, that they always showed up like nothing else. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, hopefully from that particular future updates though, it will be now becoming very well hidden. So at the very least that's that. So alright, so now we just need to able to, well, switch back to Sandy right here. So just in case we can able to actually just to reach the specific switch over there, and hopefully we're able to actually do a lot more platforming here and there. So just to ensure, oh god, I did not expect you to see that happening, but I digress. Alright, and another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well, that I think Digimon Survive finally got its release date, and it's gonna due out at some point on the 29th of July. The same release date as the forms of how it does it on, well, let's just say, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and pretty much any other Switch releases during that time. So, which I can't think about it on the top of my head, I must be honest. But either way though, let's go and get this last Patrick Sock in this particular world. And I think, fundamentally speaking, we've only got about exactly 5 more of those Patrick Socks left until we're basically done with the Patrick Socks completion requests. So, but as far as everything else goes, with all that shiny objects that we're going to be keep on collecting now, well, that could be something else entirely. Especially noticeable because, well, I've already shown you that from earlier ago, that the most annoying thing about this particular shiny objects farming sometimes is the fact that every time you die, then the loading screen happens. So because of this though, I get it because of the forms of how the fact that with all the popping and stuff like that, but as well as the draw distance needs to load correctly, well, it might be hard to explain, because obviously it has been about, I won't classify as saying quite a few days ago now, since I actually last played this, because, well, as I mentioned this before, is the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that, exponentially speaking, that, we were able to actually finish this game up by the forms of this particular Friday, so, but either way, though, depending on time and stuff like that, well, it's hard to explain, so... Anyways, let's go and grab this golden spatula, which now leads us to 81. So we are getting closer for this point, guys, especially that, before we, hit on to the next point, there's another one up there, too. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So, anyways, now let's go ahead and, I think we do need to acquire SpongeBob in order to able to activate this switch, because he might be the only one that he can able to actually do a ground pound kind of move technique. So hopefully we'll switch over to him now, and hopefully we'll activate that, and sure enough we will able to actually activate the cannon, so that way we can now able to actually tackle through the next boss. Oh, and I do apologize for that particular ring tone right there, because that message keeps popping up. So let's bring it on, the Flying Dutchman, as far as I'm concerned.
You did, but now that I look at it, I think I'll keep this golden spatula. It's so nice and shiny. It reminds me of my first buried treasure.
But what about our deal?
Ah, never make a deal with a ghost. Deals don't mean anything to me, except for that great deal I got on a butter churn back in 1873. What a prize, I tell you, nothing beats creamy hand-churned butter.
Wait just a cotton-picking minute, Butter Boy. We did all that stuff, and you're backing out like a sea weasel.
Sea weasel? Ah, them's fighting words. If you want this gold thingy so bad, come and get it.
You're on.
So of course Sandy's the only one who can able to actually take on the Flying Dutchman, because, you know, she's the only one that she can able to actually make it for that massive gap. So, anyway, so just like the Alfonso does in the original version of this boss fight, he might be pretty easy when you know the actual how to dodge the pattern for his laser eyes and stuff like that, and then if you manage to able to dodge well enough for his eye lasers, then obviously it's your chance to able to actually use her lasso in order to able to actually deal the damage on the forms of the Flying Dutchman. So yeah, that's relatively speaking, as far as boss battle goes, is actually not too bad. Although the only time it's a little bit tricky is to able to predict the actual attack. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. So, but I digress. And since about the fact that, since you probably already know, ever since about a couple of days ago at this point, that recently Maxi has pretty much managed to able to actually play his own spare time to able to actually play Klonoa 1 and 2 again, but this time in remastered HD. But so far he actually really enjoyed this particular remastered remake from, well, let's just say remastered, well, HD versions of, you know, Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle and Klonoa 2 Lunati's Veil for the Switch and also Xbox One versions. And I believe, if I recall correctly, he did say that we will do the actual Let's Plays of those two games again, but this time in remastered HD on the PlayStation 4 version, because obviously we're more accustomed to the forms of the PlayStation controller type. Well, that's only mainly because we fully enjoyed those two games basically on the original form. So anyways though, let's go ahead and, you know, dodge the last few attacks here, and sometimes it's all about kind of like a waiting kind of scenario, but either way though, hopefully we will be able to finish him off for good if he decides able to use his ice breathing attack, and there he goes.
Had enough, you dirty ghost?
Dirty? I'll have you know this jacket has been cleaned twice.
Everyone stop fighting! I think I have an idea!
Here you go.
Oh, it looks like my ship. It's even got all the little mold that flies. How thoughtful. All right, you little rapscallions. Here's the golden spatula.
Oh, I'm sorry that he actually uses the fire breathing, because I can't tell with the actual color coordination for this point. So anyway, we're now up to 83. So yeah, we're actually getting pretty close there, huh? So yeah, we basically now finally conclude the rest of the forms of the Flying Dutchman's graveyard, and I suppose we should probably head back onto the actual the Bikini Bottom hub world, and pretty much we can able to actually get for the doubt that we will able to actually get started with the final main platforming level before the actual final frontier, which is of course taking place in the Chum Bucket's lab. So we can pretty much expect that we can able to actually stop the actual robotic rampage. So yeah, that pretty much summarizes as such. So anyway, so let's go ahead and grind for some more of those shiny objects, because as far as I'm aware, the final world in the game, to be more specifically SpongeBob's Dream, that we do need to acquire a lot, I mean a lot of shiny objects to farm through, because, well, as far as I'm... Really? I wasn't near to that explosion range! Ah, jeez, the hitbox can be sometimes feels a bit all over the place in this sometimes. But, I wasn't expecting that, but, anywho, so we'll just, keep trying, and, well, you know what I mean. So, alright, so we'll just, you know, keep on farming some more of those shiny objects as usual.
Love opening presents.
So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much as far as I can talk about for this point. Although, I will try to talk more details about the forms of the new toys that's be coming up when it comes to Mario Kart Tour. But regardless of everything else though, in fact, some people are usually trying to say, although it might be still likely for the grain of salt once again, although I'll get into more details about this in a moment's notice, because let's down onto this particular circular shaped rocky structure kind of thing on a ring in the middle, and able to actually, you know, access to SpongeBob's Dream, the final world in the game, which, if you ever played the original version of the game before, then you know exactly how this sounds. Basically, it's one of the hardest worlds in the game, filled to the brim with tricky platforming.
With sleep comes dreams. What mischief can be found in this subaquatic somnambulant realm?
Dream bubbles. I'm surrounded by dream bubbles. I wonder what that means. Gary, what are you doing here? Meow. Oh, so I'm dreaming. Well, then first thing I'm gonna do is dream myself up a mustache. Meow. Thanks, Gary. It does make me look more rugged, doesn't it? Meow. More tasks? Well, I could use more golden spatulas, but where should I start? Meow. Meow. You mean each dream bubble has a golden spatula in it? Meow. I'm ready. Meow. Yes, Gary, I'll be careful.
And yeah, as far as what Sonic has already mentioned about this ever since the original version of the game, SpongeBob's Dream does remind me of the forms of like I was playing Super Mario Sunshine all over again, except the fact that we are pretty much floodless, so... Oh god, I didn't expect that particular timing with that jump. Oh well, no big deal, but thankfully we still managed able to respawn back into the beginning portion of this particular segment right here. So also I just realized something, is the fact that the actual lighting on this is actually a lot different than the forms of how it does in the original version, though. Well, mind you, because, oh dang it, I did not expect to see that particular block just shift to the forward. Aye. Sometimes it might take a while to able to go for this point, especially because it's bad enough about the fact that every time you fall off, like I said before, so many times and all that stuff, basically you have to wait for so many loading screens. Like, usually, sometimes though, in quite a few seconds time. So, yeah, it will be... What? I wasn't exactly sure what happened there. I was literally just managed able to actually just get onto that block, and then somehow I just died? Somehow? Although, usually I'm guessing it's likely it counts as falling to a pit, so... Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Especially it's bad enough with all their stupid loading screens kept. Oh no 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 knockback. No knockback! Ah! I hate this. Ah. See, that's what I mean with that particular robot right there. It actually is one of my least favorite enemies to take down. I understand because of the challenge, but it's just the fact that it can be annoying to deal with, especially if you have to deal with a lot of knockback if you manage to get hit. Which, I just wish about the fact that, imagine this, right? That if the next SpongeBob game is going to be on its way, the Cosmic Shake, I'm hoping that the knockback does not exist at all. But if it does though, it'll become a problematic. But we still have no idea when that particular game is going to be released though, on the other hand though, because, well, as far as I'm aware, that it's still usually say TBA, so either way though. How dare you trying to able to knock me back there, you stupid old robot right there. But thankfully we did manage to deal with him that way, so anyways, let's go and use the bubble ball to how do I get there? I know for the fact that... Oh, wait a second. Do we have to do this? Nah, it seems like a very awkward angle to deal with. Hold on. Let me just do this. There we go. I need to able to pull up a lot of power onto it, so... Alright, so speaking of such though, we're going for a watermelon physics Super Mario Sunshine style, while trying to able to actually get that golden spatula from up there. So, I'm sure there's a possibility that you can able to actually get back up there somehow. Oh, come on, come on! Ah, I missed the golden spatula. Ah, it doesn't matter, because either way though, we actually go onto that specific that particular platform there. So, anyways, let's try again. Also, I just cannot even believe about the fact that it's been about 8 days ago that, relatively speaking, the Powerpuff Girls movie, that somehow that particular film is now, well, 2 decades old now. So, time flies, doesn't it? So anyways, dang it, I just missed that. See, that's what I mean. This particular world is very tricky. Like, ranging from tough platforming, and I understand because it's more likely like an end game of any sort, so... Alright, so we'll just keep trying this again. And hopefully, without even major screw-ups for this point right here, so hopefully, it's gonna keep jumping, and hopefully... Grab it! Yes! Whew! That took me a lot of tries on this though. But anyway, 84 golden spatulas we have. So, yeah, we actually came pretty close. So yeah, we're pretty much gonna have to go through a lot of dream sequences. So in this case though, that the first one we have to go into is of course Sandy's dream, which is obviously based off from like Texas and stuff like that, which because she loves like Western themes and stuff like that for all their Texas and rodeos and you name the rest. So, in fact, can I think about it, this particular level also reminded me of one of those episodes in SpongeBob SquarePants called Sleepy Time, where basically SpongeBob just somehow managed to able to, well, specifically Dreamy SpongeBob, that basically he managed to able to win through a lot of people's dreams. So in this case though, he managed to go into, well, he did manage to begin with the forms of SpongeBob's dream at first, although I'll get into more details in a moment because, well, look at this place. Although it's filled to the brim with a lot of, like, anything else really.
Wow, your dream is massive.
Everything in Texas is big, even dreams.
Then you're just the right person to reach the spatula on top of that golden acorn.
My dream, my rules. I'll get that spatula faster than a Texas jackrabbit crossing a 4-lane highway.
So anyway, since about the fact that while Dreamy SpongeBob just somehow managed able to get started into SpongeBob's dream at first, and then obviously Mrs. Puff showed up after when he managed able to actually get himself a driver's license, and then he just goes like, no! And then he went into the forms of, let's say in reality or something like that, and then basically that Dreamy SpongeBob just go into like, multiple dreams, at least as far as I'm aware, for the actual in chronological order. I think he started things off as in Gary's dream, and also there is Patrick's dream, Squidward's dream, and also Sandy's dream, Pearl's dream, Mr. Krabs' dream, and finally, Plankton's dream. Although, that he did manage to come back into his own, you know, dream bubble, or in this case, a dream cloud. But then, you realize about the fact that there's a lot of, like, familiar, SpongeBob's friends' heads surrounding him, meaning about the fact that they're trying to warn SpongeBob to stay away from their dreams. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. And also that I'd still love the fact that, well, usually when Patrick goes like, "Has anyone had a quarter?" Like, usually when he loses his coin, able to actually having a nice little fun time on the actual attraction ride. Well, you probably already know what that episode represents it for, so, yeah.
Who puts challenges in their own dreams?
Squirrels? We're tough like that.
Oh, you'll need to be real tough to make this series of swings.
I could do it in my sleep.
You are asleep.
As I said, in my sleep.
Well, there's a golden spatula out there for you if you make it far enough.
I'll do it so fast, it'll make your head spin faster than a horny toad on a merry-go-round.
Why can't I ever just dream normal dreams of world domination?
Well, generally, Plankton, as far as I've already referenced that earlier about the fact that SpongeBob, or specifically Dreamy SpongeBob, that he did somehow manage able to get into your dream, but ultimately though your plan failed, because obviously for your world domination scheme goes, that you don't stand a chance, because obviously Dreamy SpongeBob becomes like a pin, so that way that you become smaller again, and then you got flattened by one of the townspeople and stuff like that, so... But I digress. So, again, there's not much else you can say, because either way, though, as I mentioned this before, I really wish if I would like to able to mention something new, although if I've noticed about the fact that there's another leak appeared, which, despite the fact that it might be another grade of salt, despite the fact that most people seem to able to complain, that so far, for the sake of the forms of Nintendo for this year, it's actually gone pretty mediocre so far, due to the forms of the amount of delays on certain games, specifically Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, as well as the forms of not enough new games to come out this holiday season, well, apart from the fact that with Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, finally got its release date until specifically 20th of October, which is roughly exactly the same time as when the UK's release of My Little Pony the movie on the big screen on the cinemas did came out, and specifically that film is going to become 5 years old until specifically in October. So yeah, that'll be pretty amazing all things considered, especially because, well, relatively speaking, I really do enjoy those specifics. So but, yeah, you get the idea about that. And I do apologize about the fact that sometimes my computer just keeps on lagging most of the time, so there might be a few times, though, that my commentary sometimes gets like, occasional delays, but, hopefully I'll try to fix that at some point, especially noticeable because, well, it's just the fact that it can be annoying and inconsistent, so... But I digress. So, now we're done with that particular part, so now we can get into this fun part that we can able to traverse onto different portions of this particular dream, and, yeah, you probably get the gist of it, so... Anyway, with the forms that new leak has been happening, despite the fact that it might be still a grain of salt, that basically though is the fact that I don't usually just trust leaks and rumors anymore, and... What the... what happened there? Oh! I somehow fell for the cloud. Ah, dang. I don't know, I see that. Anyway, there was actually a new leak about the forms of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Pack 2, or specifically Wave 2 for the actual Booster Course Pass. It might able to actually change at some point in the middle portion of July or something like that. Again, it's just a grain of salt, so either way though, because as I mentioned this before, I pretty much no longer going to be trusting leaks and rumors out there, because I was originally trying to give up on the forms of rumors and leaks, because there are a few times though there might be trollers. So because of this though, that's why I essentially just give up on the forms of hopes and dreams for that Nintendo Directs every now and then. Although don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed some of these presentations in the past, but it's just the fact that with all that, when you know what I mean, when it comes to likely when the Switch era comes into play with all these Nintendo Direct rumors and stuff like that, it just goes like too much for my taste. But that's as far as saying goes. That's pretty much as far as I can usually try to say about this. But I have no idea when that's going to be released when it comes to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Wave 2, because it might be still likely it's well, it's so hard to tell, because I know for the fact that, well, relatively speaking, it's just the fact that it's kind of hard to tell, because even then, though, that Nintendo doesn't seem to able to announce the actual release date for this yet, but hopefully they will do, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I just don't know yet. But I digress, so let's just go ahead and go all the way higher up with all that thin, narrow slide, and oh yeah, we're getting to the fun part that we can able to actually just to go all the way higher up, and then basically we ended up on this particular, well, pipe right here, so we can able to see some glamorous stars, and also, what the heck is that with this thing here? Well, as far as I'm aware of that, that's something we definitely need to avoid. So we can pretty much expect about the fact that we can able to use her lasso, so we can able to make it for that specific gap. And exponentially speaking, a checkpoint right there, so I think we're almost there now. So we're just gonna have to able to dodge a lot of electrical objects, along with those cows trying to able to toss the actual pies at us, which pretty much gives us a knockback if we not careful enough. And there we go. We made it to the actual top of the forms of that particular golden acorn, or giant acorn rather. So yeah, that's pretty much about that. And actually, is there a way I can able to actually just warp from there? Oh, I don't think I can able to actually do that though, so I'm gonna have to do the hard way by let's just say if we go on to, oh, there's a teleportating box. Okay, that works, especially noticeable about the fact that thankfully the actual backtracking aspect is very generous. So alright, so we'll just obtain some more shiny objects here. And yeah, there are a few times that you will have to spend a lot of shiny objects if you want to progress. That's why usually mean when it comes to likely if you're trying to able to farm some more of those shiny objects, especially noticeable if you know, go back onto Goo Lagoon, for instance, then you can probably do it that way. So, anyways, I think that pretty much takes care of Sandy's dream. And I think the next dream we're going to be hop into is Squidward's dream. So, and eventually Mr. Krabs' dream, and finally Patrick's dream. So, yeah, not much else to tell. Despite the fact that I believe Mr. Krabs' dream is still going to be one of the toughest to do. So, I'm not looking forward to that personally though, just because, well, I'm about to get wrecked in any moment's notice. So, anyway, so with that being said though, we'll just go ahead and, dang it, that spiked cube thing just gets in my way. I highly doubt I will able to actually make this though, but I think, relatively speaking, I think I'm pretty much low on time at this point, so I think I should probably go ahead and say this right now. I'm gonna have to end things off here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. That is the fact that we'll continue exploring through SpongeBob's dream, and hopefully grab some more golden spatulas, and anything else for that resides. So I'll see you guys until on Wednesday. Later, fellas.